Well, hello everybody, and welcome to my channel. My name is Steven, the Jupiterian here, and in this video, we're going to be covering Jupiter in the zodiac sign of Gemini. Quite different than Jupiter in Virgo. Um, Still in detriment in Gemini, as he is if you have Jupiter in Virgo, ruled by Mercury. Um, but there is a car. Here's Jupiter, the Wheel of Fortune, in the Universal Rider Waite deck. The Wheel of Fortune, and here's representation of Jupiter in the Light Seers deck. Yes. And there is a card for Jupiter in Gemini, which we'll get to. But first, let's talk about Jupiter in Gemini for just a moment. Jupiter in the expansion, in the Gemini, Jupiter in Gemini signifies growth through communication, curiosity, learning, and adaptability, bringing expansion to ideas, information, and social connections. It can also mean information overload and difficulty committing due to a fast scattered mental energy. Although actually the themes of and meanings of Jupiter in Gemini, ex- intellectual expansion, growth comes from exploring new ideas, learning new skills, and engaging in diverse conversations. That's all about Gemini. They love diversity. Oh, shoot. Hold on. I need to. Sorry about that. I had to get a delivery with just got a delivery. So, as I was saying, Jupiter in Gemini. And let's see. Um, uh, Another theme for Jupiter and Gemini is having curiosity as a guide. Opportunities arise through indulging curiosity and seeking knowledge from multiple viewpoints. Communication and social growth. Abundance is found in words, data, travel, and networking. And actually, since Gemini likes connecting and sharing things, um, yeah, it's a time for connecting and sharing. Flexibility and adaptability. Success is linked to being nimble, versatile, because it is a mutable sign. Yes, Gemini is a mutable sign in a very optimistic, expansive planet, Jupiter. and open to change rather than sticking to one path. With the wisdom of doubt, it challenges dogma, encouraging a healthy skepticism and questioning of beliefs. But this can lead to being, well, they flip flop at times, like being very adaptable, changeable, and being the mutable sign it is. Uh, Being fickle, flexible. Um, yeah, you're able to see both sides of a conflict with Mercury, in the planet of luck, growth, expansion, and opportunity, and finding wisdom through these Gemini traits. And yeah, but you may have a lack of focus, a tendency to jump from one interest to another, making deep commitment difficult. Yes. Someone born with Jupiter and Gemini is very quick and with a witty mind that loves to learn and communicate, a natural talent for multitasking and seeing things from various angles and different sides, as I said. Yep. There is a need to find balance between deep faith and constant questioning. So, yeah, Jupiter is the planet of faith and abundance, luck, opportunity, wisdom. In the constant questioning sign of Gemini, they always ask questions, look for the meanings of things. Yep. Although it can create mental clutter, anxious thinking, with anxious thinking. And so, yes, here's the card for Jupiter in Gemini. The Eight of Swords, which is kind of interesting because it's actually very interesting to see the planet of faith and law, actually in the sign of Gemini. So it's almost like you're blindfolded, yet you're feeling, and you're relying on your thoughts and and your intellect, and not what you see. Yet these bound, she's bound not very tightly. She can get out of these quite easily, but there's so much going on mentally, intellectually in this card. So this is the Universal Rider-Waite version. And here's the Lightseer's deck. It's interesting that she's looking in a mirror, but she's blindfolded and bound, and all the and the birds are actually all the uh, thoughts and thoughts and intellectual stimulus that's occurring here. Having that very curious intellectual expansion and having many ideas all at once, or many thoughts. Actually, it's a very thought provoking, questioning sign of Gemini, in the sign of Gemini. So this is Gemini has dignity by term between the degrees of 7 to 12 degrees of Gemini. If you have Jupiter in Gemini between the 7 and 14 and I'm sorry, 12, no, 7 and 14 degrees of Gemini, you have some dignity by term. Also, some Jupiter in Gemini has dignity by face, or in the first decan, between 0 and 10 degrees of Gemini. Actually, Jupiter in Gemini seems much better placed than Jupiter in Virgo, because Jupiter expands what what you're thinking, feeling, and your ideas and growth for social and interaction and networking and communication. So, but yeah, actually, it's in the and also a mutable. It's like Virgo is also a mutable sign. This is a mutable air sign, Gemini. So it's all about communication, intellectual stimulus, learning new things and skills. All about words, data, and networking and connecting with others. So, and is very versatile and adaptable sign, Gemini. There's quite a lot of flexibility and adaptability, but there comes with challenges, as I have mentioned before. So, uh, sorry, getting text messages now. Jeez. Hold on. Right about that. Getting text messages, getting deliveries. I'm sorry, everybody. Gemini is such a Gemini thing to do. As I'm talking about Gemini, I'm multitasking. So, yeah, sorry, Gemini. Jupiter and Gemini. Um, so Jupiter and Gemini. So yeah, I was talking about that, yep. And that's all I have for you with Jupiter and Gemini. It's in detriment. Uh, has dignity by face from 0 to 10 degrees, and term from 7 degrees to 14 degrees in the sign of Gemini. So, Jupiter and Gemini. That's what I got for you. I'm so sorry about that. Right. So, yeah, typical Jupiter, Gemini, and so thanks for watching. I'm Stephen the Jupiterian. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new here, post a comment. Um, uh, Even if you don't have this um, placement of Jupiter and Gemini. Love to hear what even if Jupiter and has transited in your chart in the sign of Gemini, like it did last year. Jupiter was in Gemini last year. Yes. Uh, so what was Jupiter and Gemini like for you? All right. Take care, everybody. Take care of yourself, each other, and have a good one. Until next time, Jupiter through the air signs. All righty.